What's happened, man? So I just recorded this entire video and my mic was off. God, that is awesome. So we're going to try it again. Everybody loves a nice top 10 list. So today we are going over 10 winter gem fragrances. Now before we get into the list, as always, if it's your first time here, subscribe and ring the bell. So starting this off at number 1 is kind of a no-brainer. Everyone loves it. Halloween Man X. Beautiful coffee fragrance. Now, the coffee element of my collection is relatively weak. I don't own too many coffee-dominant fragrances. This one, to me, still has that Halloween Man or that 1 million DNA. It's just been jazzed up a little bit with kind of a boozy coffee DNA. Good stuff. Great for the cold weather. I don't show this one nearly enough love, so I thought I'd throw this at the number 1 spot. All right, next up is classic Prada L'Homme Intense. Very sexy. Iris, amber. Tonka bean leather. This stuff is so romantic. This almost smells incensey to me. Like I get an incense smell with this. I'm assuming it's just the iris. Very pungent, very strong, like a punch you in the face, powdery fragrance. I'll be honest, almost every time I wear this, literally almost every time I wear this, I get a compliment. Somebody says something. Very beastly, very sexy and alluring and very romantic. Good on date nights and good in the cold weather in general. Prada L'Homme Intense. All right, next up on the list is a cheapie, Mont Blanc Starwalker Extreme that I think is heavily inspired by Prada L'Homme Intense. But you know, the more I wear this, when this one develops on my skin, I actually get Prada L'Homme Intense mixed with Gucci Guilty. Now, smell this if you have it. Tell me I'm crazy. It literally smells like Prada L'Homme Intense and Gucci Guilty blended together. I didn't like it too much when I first got it, but it's actually grown on me quite a bit. The more I wear it, the more I like it. And it's done really well in the colder weather right now. I'm enjoying this one more than I actually thought I would when I first got it. All right, next up on the list is English Laundry's Windsor. Heavily, heavily inspired by Spice Bomb. Listen to that cap. God, that's annoying. My cap's broken. And a quick little tip. The Beverly Hills Polo Club Blaze is even cheaper than this, and it also captures that Spice Bomb DNA. And for the record, a lot of people say this doesn't perform. This stuff is a monster off of my skin. I have to wash it off every time. But Windsor, very spicy. The clove in this really punches me in the face. Again, it smells a lot like Spice Bomb. They did a great job. Very dense fragrance to me. Very enjoyable. I don't even own Spice Bomb because I have this and the Polo Club Blaze. Both of those do the job of Spice Bomb, in my humble opinion. Spice Bomb, I think, is a little bit more rich and a little bit better done, for lack of a better explanation. But this is good enough for me. I enjoy Windsor, one of my favorites from English Laundry, and it's damn good in the winter time. Winter gem, might I say. All right, next up on the list is Lacoste L'Homme Intense, or L'Homme Lacoste Intense. Sometimes I go back and forth on whether I should have even gotten this because I have the original. But I'll say the Intense version to me is basically just a little bit amped up. Like the rhubarb in this, the citrus in general, the fruitiness of this is a little more dense, a little more deep and rich. So basically all I do is I use the original for like spring and summer, and I use the Intense for like the fall and winter. Now performance-wise, this one doesn't give me any more performance than the original. I was a little bit disappointed in that. I thought because it's intense, the performance would be a little intense, but it's not. I get about 4 or 5 hours out of this, 6 if I'm lucky, but nonetheless, a little bit deeper and richer version of that original DNA. Maybe redundant. I don't know if you have to have this if you have the original. I think the original is good enough, but I do like this matte blue bottle. Isn't that sexy? All right, next up on the list is 1 Million Elixir. Now, I definitely think this is underrated. I know I throw that word around a lot. This definitely got love when it came out. People say it smells good, but as far as the frequency of discussion, it's definitely underrated in that regard. This stuff is sexy. How I would simply describe this fragrance, a very sweet vanilla with a nice rose and apple. It is so nice. The sweetness from the vanilla really kind of piggybacks with the rose, so the rose comes off very sweet as well, and then you get a nice apple on top. God, this stuff is alluring. Very good for date nights as well. Monstrous off of my skin. Performs very well. I like 1 Million Privé probably the most out of this line, but this Elixir is definitely number 2 to me. This stuff is sexy. I can't get enough of it. It's a damn good fragrance. You need to get your nose on it if you haven't already. I think they did a fantastic job with this. All right, next up on the list is classic Burberry London. I wish I had a bigger bottle because I only have this small bottle, but I see it at the rack stores from time to time. So I'm going to grab a big bottle when I see it. cinnamon, lavender, leather, tobacco, very sexy. And I literally smell cranberry a little bit when I smell this. Am I crazy? Does anybody else smell that? This literally smells like a touch of cranberry along with the cinnamon and that tobacco. Man, this stuff is good. Another one that's really good for date nights. Very underrated in that regard. If you own this one in the fall and the winter especially, if you're going out on a date or even going out with your friends, this one's good to rock. It does well. Very pleasant. An easy tobacco, similar to CK1 Shock. Man, I love this stuff, and I enjoy it quite a bit. Definitely a winter gem. All right, next up on the list is Armani Code Profumo. Now, I tend to reach for Mont Blanc Legend Night more than this. This is heavily inspired by this, but there are some subtle differences. That's a little more bright and sweet off of my skin. The Armani Code Profumo is more deep and dense and rich with that powder. Tonka bean and amber. The nutmeg. You do get a lot of the green apple still. Very sexy stuff. More mature and professional. And the Mont Blanc Legend Night is a little more youthful and playful. That's how I would depict the two differently. Man, this stuff's nice. Performs very well off of my skin. Very intimate, romantic fragrance. Women love this one. I think everyone loves this one. I go a little bit heavy on it in the wintertime. I enjoy it so damn much. It's a little bit pricey. I would say overall, Mont Blanc Legend Night might be the better choice because it smells similar enough and it's probably like half the price. But like I said, this one is more dense, more rich, more elegant and mature. Very good stuff. All right, next up on the list, this stuff doesn't really even need an introduction. Guerlain L'Homme, EDL, EDP. My God, this stuff is sharp. The almondy cherry fragrance, very sweet. Incense, leather, tonka bean. Man, this stuff is sexy. Sometimes when I wear this, though, I feel like I'm a little bit underdressed. I'm not really a suit and tie guy, but sometimes when I go out with my friends, I will dress kind of business casual. And this one does well for that. But when you're just rocking like a hoodie and a cap or a t-shirt and jeans, at least I feel a little bit silly wearing this one. I think it's a little bit too classy for that. But it's a rich, bright fragrance, very sexy cherry, a little bit smoky, almondy. My goodness, man. I assume you guys have all smelled this one. If you haven't, I would at least get a decant. These bottles have gotten a little bit pricey, but the way it performs and the compliment factor, I do think it's worth it. I don't think that you're going to overspend. I wouldn't spend over $100 for a bottle of this, but if you can find it for $100 or less, I would grab it. Very sexy. Another good date night fragrance and very good for the cold weather in general. So this one definitely falls into the category of a winter gem, in my opinion. All right, last up on the list is Versace's Derege. I've talked about this one before. This is so different from anything else that I own right now, or so different from anything that anyone's really talking about right now. This has, how can I describe this simply? I would say take a sweet vanilla and a musky vibe and mix those together. So a musk and vanilla with a sweet rose and black licorice. Now, black licorice is not listed. Some people think I'm a nut when I say that, but I'm telling you, this smells a little bit like black licorice to me. And I don't like black licorice, but the scent is very alluring. It's so hard to explain. I don't know anything else that I can compare this to, but man, this is good. The musk and the vanilla, like I said, with a sweet rose and black licorice. It smells elegant. It smells classy. It smells mature, but not too mature. Very good for date nights as well. And this is another one that I literally always get a compliment when I wear. Somebody almost always says something to me when I'm wearing this. And again, I'll preface the same thing I said a minute ago. This smells like nothing else that's around right now that I can think of anyways. Comment down below if you know what it smells like. But this is a different fragrance. If you own this one, you are going to stand out. This is a classy DNA that I love a lot. And I still think it's slept on. Nobody's really talking about this stuff. It's not on anybody's lists. Nobody's saying go out and grab it, but I am. I think it's blind buy safe. Last time I checked, it was pretty damn affordable. It may have gone up a little bit, but I got my bottle for like, I don't remember how much it was, around 30 bucks, give or take a little bit. Man, this stuff is a monster for that price. Performs well and is such a sexy, elegant, classy boss fragrance. I can't harp about this stuff enough. Versace Derege, it's different and is definitely a wintertime gem. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please drop me a like. It matters a lot. It lets YouTube know the video's worth a damn and the channel's worth a damn, and it helps show it to other people. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I don't know why you haven't already, but you should. Until next time, guys, I will leave you how I always leave you. Take your vitamins, hit the gym, and always stay improving. It's very important. God bless. Be well. I'm out.